An Avenger once again, and welcome to another podcast of a 1999 film that's it mostly in English. It's action thriller, The Corruptor, with Chow Yun Fat and Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, this is one of the first Mark Wahlberg movies I'm doing. One or two. I haven't done a movie with him in a while. This is early in his career, before he did everything. This was in the late '90s. This movie's about an hour and 40-something minutes. Like an hour and 50 minutes, so an hour and 47 without the end credits. I haven't seen this movie in years. I saw it on cable a long time ago. He's directed by James Foley, not an Asian guy. Because this was in the heyday where actors from China were doing or Hong Kong were doing films in the U.S. like Jet Li and Jackie Chan and Chow Yun Fat and other people as well. The Corruptor. Because Rumble in the Bronx is the theatrical cut. I don't want to do that. So, plus it's dubbed mostly. This one is not. At least this movie's under 2 hours. It's not 2 hours. Byron Mann, he was in the Street Fighter movie. Yeah. And Brian Cox, yeah, this is one of his early roles. It's Asian, but it's not completely subtitled, so that they takes the weight off my shoulders, because that's all I've been doing podcasts for, mostly movies that were subtitled. Because even Pacific Rim Uprising, that had a lot of subtitles in it. Batman Forever didn't have it, or Batman and Robin, but that's only because those are superhero movies. But at least I got those out of the way, so I couldn't do them in June, and you know why. Hold on. Directed by James Foley. Here we go, Chinatown. In Manhattan, near the World Trade Center. This is before. Did I mention this is a couple years before 9/11? Yeah, because it is. This was 1999, so 2 years before that tragedy. Which, yeah, what happened? My stupid thing just got my video got cut out because somebody subscribed to me, but that's fine. Let's continue. We're gonna continue to watch this because I want to do this. Next time you there's some subtitles here, but it's not the whole movie. I promise, because Mark Wahlberg doesn't know any Chinese or Cantonese or anything. So, but like I said, I had to see something that was less a subtitle, because I'm like, I don't want to read as much. I'm lazy, guys. I've read enough subtitles since May 1st. I had to read a bunch of subtitles since the original Godzilla. Now this is. Yeah, I'll just mute this part because it's just introducing Chow Yun Fat's car, and this is not directed by John Woo. It's James Foley, who's not. See, they have a lot of homages to Hard Boiled or The Killer, but it's mostly in English. This scene is subtitled, but not the whole movie, because even Rush Hour was subtitled. With some scenes with Jackie Chan were subtitled. You didn't miss a thing. You know, the movie started and then somebody subbed to me. But don't worry, don't sub to my channel while I'm doing the podcast. Just do it earlier. Because if you do that, it interrupts my flow. Thank you. Now that we got that out of the way. That's why the chat is weird. They really should monitor these chats on YouTube. With Deadpool the movie, and I'm keeping it off because I don't want distractions. Yeah, I don't want to go there again this year. I heard enough Chinese, Mandarin, and Cantonese to last me a lifetime. Thank you very much. This is why nobody goes there anymore. Hong Kong and China, yeah, not a lot of people go there because, again, COVID happened over there. So they're probably the biggest suspects of this decade. Not all of them, mind you, just the country itself. The problem with this movie, one of the problems is what they do at the ending. I don't like the ending in this movie because it's kind of bittersweet. And Chow Yun-fat's a more, his face is more plump than Jackie Chan and Jet Li and all these other guys. An Asian woman. Because this is not an Asian director. James Foley is a white director. I'm just lazy. I don't want to read subtitles for the whole film. Because I did that enough, guys. I've done more than 10 podcasts that were completely subtitled. All the Godzilla movies, the original Mothra, No Blood, No Tears, Dark Water. So yeah, I've done enough. It's a lot. There's Byron Man. Yeah. The movie becomes more American when we get to Mark Wahlberg's character. I just don't know why Mark Wahlberg talks like this. He's like, I talk like this and everything. And I'm like, yeah, that got kind of old, especially in the last 10 years. His brother Donnie doesn't talk like that. Because you would think that this is an Asian movie that was, imported from China. It's not. Because the director and the writer and one of the stars is white, so. And the writer is Robert Peachy. I think he's Italian. Yeah. Ooh. Also, this movie's not as bleak as No Blood, No Tears, because that movie was like very mean spirited. This one's not as much. There's Mark Wahlberg finally, about 10 minutes in. Daniel Wallace. That's the same name of the guy from an episode of episodes of Family Matters. It's an American movie, Chow Yun-fat. Again, diversity, that's what makes the world go round now. Why you think that the Lilo and Stitch movie's making money? Or Mission Impossible? Because it's got diverse casting in it. Sometimes it works and sometimes it's forced. A white cop. Yeah, again, if this was Rush Hour, it'd be a black cop and an Asian guy. It doesn't bother me because I just saw the Barbie movie, which I will review later. That's as diverse as you can get. In dumpsters, I could do that too. Look, I haven't seen Hard Boiled. I got to see that, but not this month because I don't want to read subtitles, guys. The last movie I'm seeing subtitled is Godzilla Minus One in a couple of days because it's over 2 hours, and it's a lot to read subtitles that long. That's why people don't do it. No, I'd rather date a Filipino or a Japanese girl. We're gonna see the scissors. Yeah, I have it. I have it. I have it bad. If you see my Facebook, at least Facebook, because on Facebook I have a big album for Maggie Q. Yeah, what? Yellow people. Even though some of them aren't yellow. Like Filipinos are not yellow. They're dark skinned. Because even all the Fast and the Furious movies, they're very diverse after the first one. Because the first one's mostly just white and Hispanic people. But the later sequels had Asians and blacks and Middle Eastern people. You know, they don't have just one group of people in those. That's a nice shot. The NYPD, yeah. We're only an hour. We're only like about 10 minutes in. Yeah, these strobe lights are kind of a problem. So sorry about that interruption. Hello, beautiful bodies. It's a decent movie. I liked some of it, but like I said, I don't like the ending. I th- it's a bit downbeat for my taste. And again, they're trying to acknowledge the Asian cinema, and usually in Asian cinema, somebody dies. It happened in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Shang Chi, and a bunch of others. Even Raya and the Last Dragon, because Raya they try to kill Sisu off, which was a mistake. You know, they take her out of the third act, and I don't even know if somebody dies in it. Even the villain doesn't die. Of course, is shooting. It's very Asian type cinema, but it's good enough. You know, it gets to the point. I just don't want to read subtitles all the time. It's a lot. Because Stranger Things, even that show, which is targeted mostly at an American audience and Canadian and such, it's got so many subtitles every time they're in Russia. I'm like, I get it. They're Russian. Can we please move on in the next season? In the next season, I don't want to see any Russians. When season 5 finally streams on Netflix, please let me just watch the show and not read the show. Because most of the cast is not foreign. A third of them are, but that's because, they're either British or Canadian. But I can take that over having to read for the entire, like, hour, 2 hours of the show. I'm glad I'm doing this movie because I'm not doing Rumble in the Bronx. or Bloodsport, because Bloodsport stars a white man. You know, it has Jean-Claude Van Damme is Belgium. He's not Asian. Maybe I could do that one in June. Yep, surprise. I'll be doing a podcast tomorrow, but nothing Asian. It's going to be Rocky 4 for Memorial Day because it's perfect for that day. And then Tuesday, I'm taking a break because I need a break. I can't do 4 podcasts in a row. That's why yesterday I didn't. I took a break because I had to do the close. Yeah, this movie is a little bit long, but again, it's trying to honor Asian cinema. So James Foley wanted it to be like almost as long as an Asian movie from that John Woo was doing, because John Woo was busy doing Mission Impossible 2, so he wasn't available to direct this. It's funny. There's a lot of rap in this movie, but there's not a lot of black people in this movie. Sorry, Josh, but this is mostly a white and Asian, mix. Because if they didn't put Mark Wahlberg in this movie, or was not directed by a white guy, this would have been an Asian movie. This movie is fun. It's entertaining. Like, it's way less gritty. It's got an edge to it because it is a late '90s action thriller, but it's not as miserable as No Blood, No Tears or Dark Water. Those are way more miserable because they're much more serious movies. I know Chow Yun Fat. I get it. I get it. Trust me, I wouldn't want to piss him off. He's a good actor too. Why did they put him in Dragon Ball Evolution is beyond me. I mean, he's one of the best actors from China that's got big eyes, not squinty eyes, and yet they treated him like a cartoon. And yet he's supposed to be Muten Roshi. I'm like, Muten Roshi has a beard, and he's bald, and has sunglasses. That's not Chow Yun Fat. I'm sorry. See Dragon Ball, The Magic Begins. That's the real Roshi right there, or in the cartoons. Would I pick a better actor than Mark Wahlberg? Yeah, but in the '90s they were trying to put him as an action star because he did the Big Hit, which was pretty decent, and and a bunch of stuff. He did Fear in the early '90s as well, and of course you have a Boogie Nights, which I will not be doing for a while because let's just say it's not appropriate for next month. It's a very long movie and it has a lot of things in it, if you know what I mean. Because Mark is in too much now. He was in Transformers and Scoob, and he's in every Netflix movie that you could. Everything on streaming, you're gonna find at least one Mark Wahlberg movie there. He works. I'll give him that. But he plays the same thing in everything. He talks like this and everything, and I'm like, why? Why does he talk like that? Even Adam Sandler doesn't talk like that in every movie. Some movies he has a weird voice, and some he's just talking normal. Cocaine, meth. What is it? Of course he's under arrest. You know how many Asians got arrested in the past 5 years? Yeah. This film is also very New York, like me. So If New York is not your thing, which by the way, the Barbie movie was not in New York; it was in California, even though it was filmed in Canada. But again, I'll get to that later. And I wouldn't see that Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning part of the Final Reckoning. It's too long, guys. I heard that movie is got the first hour could have been cut, and I'm like, yeah, of course it could, because you don't need an action movie should not be more than 2 hours. If it's not a mandate. If it's too long, you must trim it. This movie's not too long. It's a bit long, but it's not 2.5 hours. This movie's an hour shorter than Mission Impossible. So give me this any day. A trim an hour and 45 minutes compared to 2 hours and 45 minutes. My life is precious. I don't want to waste half of it in the theater waiting for something to happen. That's what Mission Impossible 2 was about. That was the problem with Mission Impossible 2. It's too long. It's way too long. It's got way too much time talking instead of getting to an action scene. Ooh, yeah. Again, this movie has some dialogue that's a very stereotypical, but it was the late '90s, guys. Rush Hour, half of the movie is Chris Tucker making fun of Lee, Jackie Chan for like, and half of it doesn't even make sense. Is that he mentions Godzilla, and Godzilla's in Japan, not China. He's a Japanese monster, not a Chinese monster. There's a reason Shang-Chi was mostly in English after the first 9 minutes, because people do not want to read subtitles. It's boring. In an anime, it's fine. 30 minutes, I can handle that. But for 2 hours, I gotta be like, okay, this is what happens. This is why we have books and comics. We could read them with a fast pace. In a movie, I have to like catch up with the subtitles, and they come so fast that it's ridiculous. That's why I'm not a big foreign movie guy. Plain English is good enough for me. Oh yeah, this actor, yeah, rest in peace, man. He was in Indiana Jones: The Temple of Doom. He was in Booty Call. He did a lot of stuff, but rest in peace, man. Yeah, man. It's a good actor. I miss him a lot. He was one of the henchmen in the beginning of Temple of Doom. Too much to drink, Dr. Jones? The one that laughing at him? The ones here can be. The ones that helped me with my health first insurance, they helped me. But some of the ones in Chinatown and Canal Street in Manhattan, it's a lot. They're very loud and they're everywhere. And like I said, I prefer other Asian girls. Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese. Yes, even Vietnamese. Filipinas, because have you seen Nia Damison? Mwah, I love it. This actor also passed away too. Yeah, I think he was in Little Weapon 4, which had, Asian culture in it, because Jet Li was the main villain. At least I don't have to throw out the garbage today. Because at the very least, I don't have to do as much work today. I guess James Hong was too busy to do this movie. Because Kung Fu Panda didn't come out until 2005. 2008. when they filmed it, it was probably 2005. The first Kung Fu Panda. Because there's a big Asian population in New York City. Like everywhere in New York, there's a Chinatown or like Korean shop or something like that, or Japanese sushi places. They're everywhere. Hmm. Trust me, I know a lot of gullible people that are gonna go buy the Nintendo Switch 2 next week. I pre-ordered it and all that. I'm like, guys, it's gonna be like half the price when it which when it's Black Friday. The movie the system's gonna be half the price, so it'll be a lot cheaper. I'm not paying $400 for a new system when I still got games on the original Switch I haven't finished or completed. I just completed Mario Bowser's Fury, so it's a fun game. But man, that that last cat shine was so hard to get. Yeah, that is disgusting, Mark Wahlberg. He's not a necrophilia. I'm not into that. I do not admire a corpse. I like women that are living and breathing and alive with colors in their cheeks and their hair flowing in the wind. Nobody likes doing that. It's not real work. It's illegal. And you notice that the villain is mostly targeting women. Yeah. But No Blood, No Tears was way worse. Mainly because the women get beat up like in every other scene. There's no one like, innocent in that movie. The most innocent lady person is the cab driver, and yet she's still, they got anime hair. I had fun while doing the Godzilla movies. It's just there's so many of them. Biollante was I should have done that one earlier because it's so long. 98 pounds. Ooh, he's gonna shut off his junk. Well, your nuts off. That's a nice shot. James Foley does know how to hold the camera. At least he's not shaking the camera because in Asia they don't do that. They don't shake the camera like this, where you can't see what's going on. It's a decent movie, though. I did like watching this a couple of years ago. I don't remember when it was. It was a while back. I think it was like before the pandemic. Because, when that happened, everybody was like, if you're Chinese, you're a suspect. I'm like, no, the ones that were selling the disgusting animals in the actual country, they're the ones responsible. Not the people that are working in, like, the Chinese restaurants and such, or the laundromats. They're just doing a job, guys. Just leave them alone. Don't attack people just because of what they are. That's what they do with the poor gal. I'm like, she didn't do anything. She's Israeli. So what? What's the problem? I don't get it. I don't see what a threat she is. She's not a threat. There's other actors in this world that are much bigger threats, or directors, or writers, or producers. Trust me, I know. Brian Cox is in those commercials that they do on what they did them on the line. I'm glad I shaved because I look much cleaner now. I cut my hair a couple of days ago, so I had to because I'm going to I'm going to Comic Con next Saturday, so not this coming Saturday, the first Saturday in June. So I'll no podcast that day. I might do a video to show my update, but that's about it. A silent moment, yeah, that's very rare in this movie because it's an Asian slash American movie. In New York City, yeah, the loudest city in the world. A city that never sleeps. Trust me, I know. There's so many animals in this area that I was like, yeah, it's hard to sleep. I saw a possum last night in my area. I was throwing out the garbage and I saw a possum. I wasn't scared because I've seen a possum before. It's basically like a big rat marsupial with a little pouch. But I wouldn't touch it because I'm not going to get another injury. I refuse to go to the doctor this week. I did nothing but go to the doctor and the dentist for the spring. So, yeah, I went in April to the doctor and I went to the dentist twice in May. So, look at my teeth. Look a lot better. I got to brush my teeth later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a good shot. I like directors doing their own work, but you don't need movies to be 3 hours to get to your work. Because Oppenheimer, everybody that saw it said the movie could have been much shorter and the sound could have been better. Nolan, we want to hear the dialogue. We don't want to hear background noises and music and things distracting us when the movie starts. Because I saw Inception in the theater 15 years ago. It was not that was not a problem. The pacing was a bit off, but I could hear the dialogue. It wasn't like DiCaprio was talking and then they go, you hear background noise or loud music or something. I want to hear the dialogue mostly. Hey, cutie. Asian girls have the most beautiful hair. That's why I like Haley Steinfeld, Josh. Look at her. I know she's engaged. That's not a red flag because I'm like, she still has gorgeous hair. She squints when she smiles, and she's beautiful. She's absolutely stunning. She's Filipina, not Chinese. That's why she's taller than most Asian girls. She's like 5'7" or 5'8". Yeah. No smoking, yeah. It's bad for you. And the scenes don't last too long. Excuse me, I just got up. Illegals, huh? That's a big problem now, especially in 2025. Because in '99 it wasn't that big of a deal, but in 2025, yeah, it is a problem. You saw the golden flower, gold flower, yeah. I did podcast because I was prepared for it. That's why. I'm always prepared. I always have a stack of movies waiting for me to watch. And when I get my new laptop in June, after the convention, I'm definitely going to see more films. No mail today or tomorrow, so that's good. I got my package in the mail anyway, so. We're 33 minutes in or so because the first couple of minutes got cut off because somebody said I just subbed. Do that before the if you're gonna subscribe, so do it either before the podcast or after the podcast is over. Don't do it during because then I don't know what's going on. I get interrupted. So all these people are underground, and there's nothing but women there. They look drugged out of their minds. Yeah, like I said, it has some darkness to it, but it's not as bleak. The action's still good, and it's a little shorter than No Blood, No Tears. That was way darker than this, and that came out in 2002. You know what's going down there. They're filming a they're filming an adult film underground. And this was in the 90s, guys. There was no the internet was still new at the time, and yeah, gotcha. Yeah, there's those strobe lights again. Yeah, that oh that those strobe lights bother me. I don't suffer from epileptic seizures, but I don't like flashing strobe lights. They kind of bother me. That's why when I take a selfie, I usually shut the flash off. There's Mark smiling. Yeah, there's some nice calm scenes where it's not violent or corrupt. It's a much needed break because if this movie was just bleak the whole time, I would be like, come on, just show some levity. It's not a comedy though. There's no like major jokes in the film, but it has some levity. Like when somebody's smiling, I'm like, oh yeah, thank you, because I don't want to see people going. That's a myth. Okay, that was kind of funny. But again, you needed some levity. A movie like this does not need to be a drama because I'm like, if it's a drama, it's boring. It gets real. Get it? Because he was in Boogie Nights, which again, I'm not doing that movie for a while. Chow Yun Fat has a fun laugh. Oh please, no, no, no! Don't you dare! I don't want to see that right now. Put it away. Keep that to yourself, buddy. This is not this is not Blonde, which is a Netflix movie. Which yes, I won't be reviewing that either because Anna de Armas has done worse than what the Josh thinks that she can't carry this movie Ballerina. I think it's gonna do fine. Len Wiseman is a good director. Live Free or Die Hard's his best movie easily because it doesn't have Kate Beckinsale in it, and Maggie Q was awesome in that, really awesome. Yeah, it's a foreshadowing of what happens in the third act of the movie. It's just kind of downbeat. I'm like, really? That has to happen? It can't be like, the Rush Hour movies where at least Lee doesn't die in the film. That would have pissed me off. If they killed off Jackie Chan in that movie, I would have been like, nope. In any of them, even in the third one, I was like, no. You don't need to do that. It's a comedy. Let it be light. I probably saved a lot of Asians' lives when I donate blood every year. But I don't know which kind because they don't come back and say, hey, thanks, John, for saving my life. Because sometimes when you do it, you don't get the recognition you deserve. But I will. I'm going to do it again in about 2 weeks. I wanted to wait a while because, uh, when you do that, you have to have a schedule when you can do it and when you can't, when you're eligible. A massage. Yes, ma'am. Like I said, the female body is a work of art. Why would you want to hide it? Why? In these Middle Eastern countries, why can't women even show their faces? Not in Israel. I'm saying like in, some parts of Pakistan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, all those other countries. Yeah, why? I want to see the face. Yes, ma'am. Ugh. Yeah, I didn't see this in No Blood or No Tears. So give me a. They cut because this is not one of those films. Brian Cox got attacked. I'll get you there. He's taking pictures. It's almost 10 o'clock. Overwhelmed. Mark, you sound the same in everything in the movie. You don't yell much in this movie. Like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, he whispers a lot. I don't know why they tell him to act like that, but or that I don't know how that because John Cena doesn't whisper like that. Sometimes he does, but he doesn't talk like this. He doesn't talk like he's zoned out of his mind. I'm like, dude, speak up a little bit. No one wants an action star that's whispering all the time, you know. Especially when it's an intense scene. Like, can you imagine if Arnold Schwarzenegger in the '80s went, "I'll be back"? Like he sounded like or in the '80s if he did like Commando, like because he's not a robot in that, and he didn't use authority in his voice, it would be boring. It would be like it's like Chuck Norris. I don't find him having an authoritative voice. That's why I don't like his films because he's boring. He's not. He's like too calm. I need an action star with more intensity or like a comedic side or something, like Ryan Reynolds. He's both. He could be funny and he could be intense. Look at the first Deadpool. It's like, tell me what I want to know, or you're gonna die in 5 minutes. See, that's funny and intimidating. It's both. Here it's like, yeah, Mark, I could barely hear your dialogue because you're whispering. Like, we're gonna talk like this the whole time. And like, yeah, it's weird. It's a weird acting choice. Even Nicolas Cage would have been like, yeah, lighten up a little bit. Wake up, Mark. You're not Sam Worthington. You don't need to talk like you're bored out of your mind. Because even in Transformers, he talks like that. In Age of Extinction, he's like, "Go after my little girl." Yeah, I'm like, it's too low. Physically, he gets it done, but I want to hear your dialogue. Don't whisper so much. If you haven't seen this movie, it's on streaming. I think it's on Max or something. It's easy to find. It's not. It was not as rare as other movies in the '90s. And they use bullet squibs. There's no CGI blood in this movie. None. I don't think there's any CG in this movie. Unlike Batman and Robin, which it looked terrible, and that came out 2 years earlier than this. This looks like an actual film, not a neon colored CGI. This monstrosity, that's over 2 hours. This is under 2 hours, so thankfully we're 45 minutes in, about halfway through the movie, almost. China Ya Choi. Oh, damn it. Why do I keep dropping this? Hold on. Always dropping this. Stay. Sorry, this earplugs are so small they drop all over the floor. I wish that I have a case for them for the rest of the year, hopefully. Good thing the floors are mostly clean. There's a good action scene. I did this podcast early because I wanted to get it out of the way. Yeah, that lady was screwed up, man. They used machine guns in this scene. It's a really good action scene. Like this is probably the one of the best of the entire film. It's not really a martial arts movie. It's more of a, you know, a shoot 'em up movie. Because Chow Yun Fat does some martial arts in the movie, but not as much. The other films are more martial arts films. Bloodsport, Showdown in Little Tokyo, Rumble in the Bronx. Those are. But this one is more gunplay. So yeah, this is the editing is well done. I can see what's happening. Boom. Yep. Good stunt, by the way. Because they did this practically with real cars, real people, real stunts. None of this fakery of CG and overlong sequences that go on. Mm-hmm. He got busted open. Because some Mark Wahlberg movies are way longer than this. You got the Transformers movies, you got The Departed, you got Bookie Nights, you have what else did he do that was really long? The remake of Planet of the Apes, yeah, it's long. I think it's about long as long as this. It's a lot of long movies. Bah. Yeah, I know. Property damage. Because when cops are chasing people and there's a lot of like destruction, somebody has to pay for it. Hopefully, the Superman movie that's coming out doesn't have any preachy dialogue and gets to the movie. It gets to the film in under 3 hours. I'm not going to say under 2 hours because I know how you're going to react, Josh. Under three. You don't need a 2.5 hour Superman movie when we have that already. We have the first Christopher Reeve movie. It's long, but that's an origin story. This is not. Get to the point a lot quicker, please. Because James Gunn's last movie was Guardians 3, and it was very long. It could have been half the running time if they had just cut some stuff out. There's characters there you didn't need in the middle of the film, especially. The visuals are amazing, but it's just too long. There's one villain, not two. You don't need two villains. One villain can carry an entire movie. You don't need two or three. Batman and Robin already taught us that the hard way. That and Spider-Man 3 and X-Men The Last Stand and some other films too. Tape. No one uses tapes anymore. Everything's on a hard drive now or like a memory card or something. Mm-hmm. See, at least Chow Yun Fat has a smile on his face. See, he can act. Even in an intense scene, he's like, his face is expressive enough to get through a scene like this. If this was a lesser actor like Gemma Chan, I would have been asleep. She would have been like, I'm gonna investigate this situation. She would be like a zombie. She reads lines worse than Mark Wahlberg does. At least Mark Wahlberg got an Oscar nomination. Where's your Oscar, Gemma? None? Oh yeah, because you can't act. Captain Marvel and the Eternals already proved you can't act in two Marvel movies. Brie Larson won an Oscar before Captain Marvel, so You can kiss her white butt cheeks, Gemma, because she's the one that got an Oscar, not you. She's a successful actress, not you. She's been a lead of a Marvel movie, and you could barely stay awake long enough in the Eternals. I'm like, I thought it was the same character. It's not. But I don't want to see any more. I'm tired of the Eternals. I will never do a podcast for that movie. I would rather Disney feed me a bunch of $100 bills in a soup than see that movie again in the theater. It is. Excuse me. There's a tattoo. And this came out before Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon. It was a year before. Mm-hmm. Of course, a lot of people are. I was born here, so me and my family mostly are, were well not well some of them were not born here, but they got a U.S. citizenship, so we're not going anywhere. We can't get deported. I know, and my new niece is was born in Connecticut, so she's a natural born citizen. That's good. I can't wait to see her. I've been waiting months, well, over a month to see her, almost 2 months now in June. Pager, yeah, this is how old this movie is. This is how old this movie is. Like, it's not everybody on cell phones like there are now. If you see any Netflix movie now that's not a period piece, half of the movies, even if it's a comedy or an action film or a thriller or even a drama, someone has a cell phone of some kind. Like I said, if it's not a period piece, don't mention things like Bringerton because that's a period piece. There weren't even phones back then, like landlines. People had to talk to each other, like you should now. Not everything has to be done with a machine. When I walk, I use my feet. I don't use a machine. There's Brian Cox laying in a bed. We're about an hour in. So we're halfway through the movie. More than halfway. Also, there's no Brits in this movie, which is a huge plus because throughout this decade, I've had to hear their accents in the movie, and it takes me out of the film most of the time. Even in Sonic 3, yes, even in that. Not Idris Elba. I'm talking about those other Brits that are in the movie. Gambling, huh? Trust me, at Comic Con, I will pay good money to see a beautiful Asian woman behind a table. Anybody that I enjoy. Palm, I didn't see her at Comic Con 2 years ago, but that's only because the big Marvel actors are usually in another room far away from the autographing room for some reason. It's weird. I don't know the setup that they do over there sometimes. You know, dumpsters, people can find things in there, right? It's 9:40 now. At least I'm not going to finish the podcast too early. Malaysian. Heroin from a Colombian. Yeah, I never heard that before. Ah, excuse me. Because let's face facts. There's actors now that should not be in major films in the theater when they can't act. They can't even have screen presence. Emma Myers has screen presence. That's why Wednesday she's so cute, and that's why she was in one of the most successful movies of this year, which Disney has not done yet. It was Minecraft, which I'm gonna see at home. Because that way, when the chicken jockey scene comes, no one's hitting me in the face with food or putting a chicken in the sky like it's the Lion King or something. No, I don't need any of that craziness. I have my own craziness at home. I don't need more of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh. See, yeah, when he did that, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep, that was pretty intimidating. This is when you could smoke in a movie. Because nowadays, some R-rated movies they can smoke, but a lot of movies they don't smoke anymore because it's bad for you. Even vaping, they don't do that in a lot of films now. Let me lie down because the movie's almost over. Peaches, 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 peaches. could take this hat off. Me too. I like peaches too. Lie down because the movie's almost over. Because I don't do these podcasts for demographics. I do it for my audience. Again, that's a name from Family Matters, a recurring character in the early seasons of the show. And no, this is not a documentary. So if people were offended by this movie, I'm like, guys, it's an action film and it's fiction. It's not a documentary. Hmm. So this movie is fun to watch. It's got some darkness to it, like I said, because it's an action thriller. But it's not a somber, melodrama like some other films I've seen this year. She's dead. Yeah, there's a lot of rap in this movie. Yet there's the black people are very limited in this movie. Mm-hmm. Coke, yep, there's some product placement in the movie. Just like in Double Team, that a Coke machine is what saves their lives. Is it a Coke or a Pepsi machine? I think it's Pepsi, yeah. It's a soda machine saves them from an explosion, which is ridiculous. But again, it's a movie. It's not a documentary. You try that in real life, this you're still burned. The soda cans will incinerate. In a fire, yeah, the fire wins against metal. He's packing. He killed himself. Wow, that was a stupid decision. He's already dead. You didn't have to shoot him again. That was a stupid scene. That could have been cut from the movie because I'm like, it's a dumb scene that feels really forced. Money. So it makes the world go round. That was pretty awesome. 70 minutes in. There's always questions. That's a cool 360 shot. The movie's got a lot of good things to it. Are there things in this movie that haven't aged well? A few, but not a lot. There's no big teeth, making fun of Asians because it's not a comedy. There's a couple of like jokes in like the middle of the film, but it's not that bad. At least it's not raining today, so that's a huge plus. Over the last couple of days, it's been on and off rain and cold for some reason. I don't know why it's cold in the month of May. It's supposed to be hot, but it will be in June. Peanuts are good. Yep. The movie's about, we're in the third act of the movie, around close enough. I don't know, because the first 5 minutes of the movie got cut because of somebody was subscribing to me just so that they could make a comment. And then they disappeared, yeah. That's what I said. That's what I meant. A tape. Nobody uses tapes anymore. Like I said, it's a bit dated. Some of the technology in the movie is dated. Beepers and tapes. Now we have cell phones and hard drives and the internet. Mm. That line hasn't aged well. Yeah, well, you asked for it. An evening scene. Look at all those lights. A montage. Hmm. Yeah, they don't kiss over there in China. They don't even they barely hug. So kissing, they barely do that. Oh, now they do, but back then, Also, this movie doesn't have a main female character. There's an Asian cop in the movie, but she's not. She doesn't do much. So this film, there's women in it. There are, but not any major characters. Like in Lethal Weapon 3, you got Rene Russo's character. So here, there's not no character like that. It's almost done. This would make me happy. Two Asian women? Oh, hell yeah. You know me. Also, May's not dead. I thought she was dead as a doornail. Marlboros, those are not good for you. It's almost done, yeah. Mm. See, there's some female characters introduced late into the film. So if you've never seen this movie, watch it at least once and make the decision for yourself, if you like it or not. It's not incredibly slow like some other movies, because some action movies are just too slow. Or some of the monster movies I saw, like Godzilla versus Biollante, the pacing was so off, and it's the same running time as this almost. That was an hour and 40 some minutes. This is an hour and 50, but that's with the end credits. Without, it's like 146. Yep. Beep, 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 beep. I remember those in the 90s. Crystal. Breathing exercises. That didn't help him get through Dragon Ball Evolution. Call the feds? Yeah. Hmm. A rumor? There we go. The chat's kind of dead now because, again, these people, well, your real subscribers stay on the chat. But it's fine. When this when this movie is over, you guys can leave your comments in the inbox, you know, in the comment section. But be nice. Don't be a troll. Mm-hmm. Yep, here we go. The final battle. A lot of gunplay. Yeah, it's not really a martial arts movie. This should have been in an action movies collection, not martial arts, because it's not a martial arts movie. It's the only one in this set that doesn't make any sense, because it's an action movie, yeah, but it's not a martial arts film. Rumble in the Bronx, Bloodsport, and Showdown in Little Tokyo are. "90 minutes in." This film has some tension in it. Mm-hmm. Just like the last film I did, except that movie was way longer. Missed. Got you right in the kneecap. It's not a martial arts film, so it really isn't. They mislabeled this movie because it's not like Mark Wahlberg and Chow Yun Fat do karate or kung fu or something. No, they don't do that in the film. Uh-oh, fire. Like I said, the ending in this movie is kind of weak. It's bittersweet at best. It's not like a complete downer like Rogue One, but it still has something that happens that I didn't care for. Again, another stunt done well. Are they shooting fireworks? It's early in the morning. Again, another good stunt. A guy on fire. Yeah, he's dead. He's roasting alive. By the time the fire's out, he'll be incinerated. More Asians underground. lot of people down there. A lot. It's a good shot, POV shot too. They're all underground because they don't know where to go. You know, they're hidden here. Those kids. He's cute, the little boy. He touched his hand and he knew it was hurt. Again, this scene doesn't have subtitles yet. A lot of the film did. Well, not a lot of the film, but a third of the film did. Again, yes, this is where the movie takes it for me. Yeah, Byron Man dies in the movie, but why did you have to kill off John Yun Fat? Spoiler alert. It wasn't needed. I think this is really forced, and they try to have a downbeat ending because he dies in, I think, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Does he die? Or does Zhang Zi die? One of them dies. It's a downbeat ending. I'm like, yeah, you don't need this. Yeah, I don't like the ending. Trust me, I wouldn't be able to do that because my bias will kick in. No, he's gone. His ending, they do a nice tribute for him, but this is way more downbeat than Infinity War and Endgame, mainly because it's a main character that didn't need to die. It's over, dude. Mark, it's over. You're the only survivor now. No, this downbeat ending, it kind of bothered me. It still does because it's unnecessary. I feel like they did this for the drama, and this was 2 years before 9/11. So, talk about drama. Yeah, there's the Statue of Liberty, represent for tomorrow because tomorrow's Memorial Day. I'm gonna wear my colors, red, white, and blue. I'll eventually do Captain America: Brave New World when I can stream it. No, it's over. Hmm. He was a good cop, and the way he dies is just kind of a cop out. No pun intended, because I'm like, they're in this room with a bunch of Asians, and then Byron Man shoots him, and I'm like, that's it? That's his ending? He doesn't. The You saw they have to put the Sinatra song. Can you imagine if they had pulled this off in Rush Hour, where one of the main characters dies? I mean, it's a comedy. You don't have to kill off the main character. It doesn't make any sense. That was the original ending of Clerks. Dante dies in the original director's cut. And I'm like, why would you kill off your main character in a comedy? It's a comedy. Don't lose sight of what you are. Yep. Gotcha. Gotcha, biatch. Yep. Bye, Asian Godfather. At least he gets his comeuppance, but I don't like that Chow Yun Fat. The Chow Yun Fat didn't need to die in the movie. It's just it really feels forced. It's like, oh, because he dies in a lot of his films. He even almost died in Dragon Ball Evolution, but that's a bad film. This is a decent film, except for the ending. The ending is a middle finger. It's just like at the ending of Thor: Love and Thunder. Why did you have to kill off Natalie Portman? All this crazy comedy feels out of place when she dies at the end, and I miss her. Rest in peace, Nick. At least he gets a funeral. Han Solo didn't get one in Force Awakens, so screw you for that, J.J. Abrams and the writers. You can't even do a funeral for one of the greatest characters of all time? You disrespectful bastard. Well, at least this movie did, so while I'm not crazy about the ending, at least Chen gets a final send-off. It's a nice tribute to in his honor. They did this a lot on 9/11. After 9/11, every year they read the names. Even in 2020, they did it from a distance. Because, to honor the people that died on that day. And that's the movie. It's a decent movie, The Corruptor, but I don't like the ending. I think it's just a downbeat ending. It's a downer of an ending. But thankfully I finished it. So thanks for watching, guys. Acknowledge me as always. Josh, I'm sorry you didn't see this because you weren't up yet. But when this is uploaded, you can see it later. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing my podcast for Rocky 4 for Memorial Day. So you have another podcast coming your way. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.